Assalamu alaikum. This is your teacher Jalil Amin Memon. Welcome all of you in our today's class of legal system of Pakistan. Well, the topic for discussion is separation of powers and system of checks and balances. Let's start a lecture formally. Well, the first question is, what is separation of powers and how is it effective in Pakistan? Now, what is the concept of separation of powers? Because in our previous lecture, in our earlier lectures, we have studied that what is the concept of a state. In our last class, we discussed that a state is a combination of land, population, government, and sovereignty. Now, further, the government is divided into three organs: legislative, executive, and judiciary. Now, at this juncture, we have been discussing the concept of separation of power. Now, what do we exactly mean by this separation of powers, and from where does it has come from? And what is the role of this concept in any legal system? Because in Pakistan's current legal system, it is based on English common law. At the conclusion of our previous class, we concluded that the Pakistan's current legal system is based on English common law with the provisions in the constitution to accommodate Pakistan's status as an Islamic state. And in this very legal system of Pakistan, we have also a concept of separation of powers. Now, what do we mean by separation of power? And what do you feel like that what is the real essence of concept of checks and balances? We will discuss it today. Basically, this term, the separation of power, it is widely used and it is ascribed to a French political philosophy, Baron de Montesquieu. This term is a model for the governance of democratic states. Let's discuss it in a detail. Basically, government is the agency through which the will of the state is formulated, expressed, or realized. I'm sorry for these typographical mistakes in these words, state and express. So I was saying that the government is the agency through which the will of the state is formulated. Now, what is the will of the state? It is always mentioned in the constitution. Government being the mechanism, being a tool to implement the will of the state, जो रियासत की जो will होती है, जो उसके आइन में लिखी जाती है, that how does a particular state act or react. Every will, every achievement, every task is to be accomplished by way of government. So government is working like an agency. And there is another concept propounded by the famous scholars Aristotle, Socrates. Power corrupts. and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Now, these are the concepts propounded by Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates. Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. किसी भी एक आदमी को अगर तमाम तरह इख्तियारात दे दिए जाएंगे तो वो करप्ट हो जाएगा. Let's say, for instance, if you are given a power to legislate, power to formulate a law, and simultaneously, with those power of legislation, if the power of executives are vested in the same hands, if the judicial authority is giving to the same person, without checks and balances, without having any audit and control, that person, that institution, that organ of the state would become corrupt absolutely. This is the concept propounded by Plato and Aristotle and Socrates. कि तमाम तरह इख्तियारात अगर किसी एक आदमी को दे दिए जाएं और उससे कोई पूछगछ ना हो तो वो करप्ट हो जाएगा. एक इंसान को अगर आप पैसों का इख्तियार दे दें कि ये पैसे आपके हैं, जो चाहें आप करें, उसी इंसान को आप ये फैसले का भी इख्तियार दे दें कि भाई आप जिसको चाहें निकालें घर में से, जिसको चाहें रखें, ये घर में आपकी मर्जी के सिवा कुछ भी नहीं होगा. उसी इंसान को ये भी इख्तियारात दे दें कि किसी भी किस्म की कंप्लेन होगी तो उसका फैसला आप करेंगे और आपसे कोई भी पूछगछ नहीं होगी. जब एक आदमी को आप मुआशी तौर पे यानी पैसों का इख्तियार भी दे दें, समाजी तौर पे उठने बैठने का इख्तियार भी दे दें, सियासी तौर पे इख्तियार दे दें, तमाम तरह इख्तियार जब आप एक आदमी को दे देंगे और उससे कोई पूछगछ नहीं होगी तो वो क्या होगा? वो बेईमान हो जाएगा. तो इसलिए लाजमी सी बात है किसी भी इदारे को, किसी भी इंसान को चेक एंड बैलेंस में रखना चाहिए. So this is the concept that absolute power corrupts absolutely. A power without limitation, a power without restriction corrupt कर देते हैं. Concentration of authority degenerates into tyranny, corruption and abuse of power. अगर तमाम इख्तियारात एक हाथ में रखे जाएंगे, concentrated कर दिए जाएंगे तो वो corrupt हो जाएगा. So the functions of the state are performed by the government through its three branches: legislature, executive and judiciary. And now these three branches with a separate power system, they perform their functions separately, independently, and with a system of checks and balances. Now, when it comes to government, these three organs represent the people and their will in our country and are responsible for the smooth running of democratic government in our country. रियासत के तीन सुतून हैं गवर्नमेंट के, हुकूमत के: लेजिस्लेचर, executive and judiciary. Now these three organs represent the people and their will in our country, and these organs are responsible for the smooth running of a democratic government in our country. And now all these branches of the government have equal importance and functions to perform. So the great thinkers thought that each branch of the government whole be made independent of other. For this concept of separation of power was introduced. Historically speaking, Jean Bodin, the French publicist, was the first modern writer and the first person to demand for a separation of power. But practically, it was Montesquieu who gave it a systematic and scientific formulation with regard to the concept of separation of power. Historically, in 16th and 17th century, this concept can be traced from the writings of Aristotle, John Bodin and Locke. But practically, the Spirit of Laws written by Montesquieu, it is the book wherein the proper definition of separation of power is given. According to the theory of separation of power by Montesquieu, it means that no one person or no one body should be vested with all three types of powers. Now, in every state, there are three kinds of powers: legislative power, executive power, and judicial power. So, according to the scheme of Montesquieu propounded in the Spirit of Laws, there must be a division of the functions on the following basis. The first one is the legislature. The basic function of a legislature is to legislate the law, to make the law, not to enforce them. And for the enforcement, we have executive power. The executive must administer the laws made by the legislature, but neither the executive can influence the legislature nor the laws are made by them, and nor they should stand against the judgments of the judiciary. And the third organ, the judiciary must determine the rights and uphold justice without taking over the functions of lawmaking or administration. So this is the simplest definition about the concept of separation of power, that the three powers must be divided, distributed, and they must be independent to each other with the system of checks and balance. Now, how is this concept is implemented in our legal system? We'll discuss today. Montesquieu further said that such separation is necessary in order to ensure that justice does not become arbitrary and capricious. He states that when the legislature and the executive powers are united in the same person or in the same body of magistrates, there can be no liberty, because apprehension may arise lest the same monarch or separate should enact tyrannical laws. There is no liberty if the judicial power is not separated from the legislative and executive. The overlapping of the power will definitely endanger the concept of separation of power. So powers should not be overlapped. The departments, the organs of the state should not be interfered with each other. They should be given separate status with maximum liberty and a system of checks and balance. कि तमाम तर जो इदारे हैं तीनों हुकूमत के, ये अलहदा हों, अलहदा अपने दायरा कार में रहते हुए काम करें, एक दूसरे से ओवरलैप ना करें, इंटरफियर ना करें. प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ थ्योरी ऑफ सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर. नाउ कौन से ऐसे उसूल हैं जिनके ऊपर ये थ्योरी काम करती है? नंबर 1, no concentration of powers, which we discussed that powers should not be concentrated in one hand, and the diffusion of the power is needed. Power must be diffused among all the organs of the state. Precisely, it means that a different body of a person is to administer each of the three departments of the government, and no one of them is to have controlling power over either of them. तीनों जो इदारे हैं, all these three branches of the government should act independently and separately. None of them has got the authority to overtake any other department. एक इदारे का आदमी दूसरे इदारे में इंटरफियर नहीं करेगा, एक इदारा दूसरे इदारे में मुदाखलत नहीं करेगा. A judge cannot be the executive. A legislator cannot be the executive. And an executive cannot be the legislator. ये तीनों इदारे अलहदा-अलहदा काम करेंगे तो ही आपके जो मामलात हैं हुकूमत के ठीक चलेंगे. Such a separation is necessary for the purpose of preserving the liberty of individual and for avoiding tyranny. Now, what is the importance of this theory of separation of powers? The importance is that it aims at individual liberty. It is a safeguard against despotism. Its basic principle that concentration of powers leads to dictatorship is true for all times and ages. The separation of powers saves the people from arbitrary rule of executive. And this theory lays down the principle that governments should act according to well-established rules or laws. Each organ acts a check upon others. It is desirable for maintaining the efficiency in administration. अब कौन सी ऐसी खुसूसियात हैं, क्यों ये अहम है सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर? एक तो इंडिविजुअल लिबर्टी, जाती तौर पे आज़ादी, सेफ गार्ड अगेंस्ट डिस्पोटिज्म, ये एक सेफ गार्ड है, चेक एंड बैलेंस है, और ये वो उसूल है कि जो तमाम तर इख्तियारात है वो किसी एक आदमी के पास ना हो कि डिक्टेटरशिप बन जाए. और ये जो सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर है ये लोगों को बचाती है एग्जीक्यूटिव के रूल से कि कोई भी नाइंसाफी नहीं होनी चाहिए. अगर अदलिया का काम है चेक करना, अगर कानून साज इदारे ने सही कानून नहीं बनाया तो अदलिया उसको चेक करेगी. अगर जो कवानीन बनाए गए हैं उनके ऊपर अमल दरामद एग्जीक्यूटिव्स नहीं करवा रहे तो अदलिया उनको चेक करेगी. और जो अदलिया है उसको वो दो इदारे चेक करेंगे, पार्लियामेंट, बिकॉज पार्लियामेंट इज द सुप्रीम लेजिस्लेटिव बॉडी. तो ये एक चेक एंड बैलेंस है एक दूसरे के ऊपर, और हर ऑर्गन का दूसरे ऑर्गन के ऊपर चेक है, और इससे एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन भी एफिशिएंट हो जाती है. Now, why is the separation of power important? Why this concept is important in every democratic setup? Because of this system of checks and balances. With this system, every organ has got certain limitations. Firstly, it ensures that different branches control each other. This is intended to make them accountable to each other. These are the checks. Secondly, the separation of power divides power between the different branches of government. These are balances. Balance aims to ensure that no individual or group of people in government is all powerful. Power is shared and not concentrated in one branch. So that's why we call it as a separation of power and balance of power. Separation and balances of power. Every organ is taking the other organ, and all these powers are separated in each organ. अब वो किस तरीके से हमारे लीगल सिस्टम में, we will go through with the related provisions of the law, related provisions of the Constitution of Pakistan. Now, this is a criticism upon the concept of separation of power. That was by Mill. We will skip these slides, criticism. You can go through with these slides later on. So let's come to the role of legislature. Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah said, "You are now a sovereign legislative body and you have got all the powers. It therefore places on you the gravest responsibility as to how you should take your decisions." Because the legislative branch of the government is the responsible for enacting the laws of the state. The supreme duty of a legislative body is to formulate the law. It is the legislature who has to form the law. The government has to justify itself to the parliament in respect of everything it does or causes the administration to do. Because the executives are the tools to implement those laws made by the legislation. In our legal system, The legislative bodies consisted of two houses. One is National Assembly, another is Senate. The National Assembly is termed as a lower house. The members of lower house are directly elected, and the Senate is termed as upper house, and the members of Senate are indirectly elected. I'm sorry. So the work of National Assembly is to make laws and do work for the public welfare. And the Senate is the second chamber of the parliament, and it is independent from the complements the work of National Assembly. The Senate shares the task of making and shaping laws and checking and challenging the work of the government. The role of executive. Now, once the legislature has formulated a law, it is the executive branch. It is the executive. It is the organ of the state. Executive are responsible for implementing those laws. They are responsible to administer those public policies which are formulated by the legislation, by the legislature. Now the executive branch has the task to implement the law, and it is comprised of the federal government, the federal president, and all the federal authorities, including the police and armed forces. Now the executive, to implement peace, to ensure peace, they have got the authorities like police and armed forces, such as NAB, National Accountability Bureau, FIA, Federal Investigation Agency, Intelligence Bureau, and police. So these are the authorities. Army for national security. Here we go. We have role of judiciary. Now the judicial branch is responsible for interpreting the constitution and laws and applying their interpretation to controversies brought before it. Judges administer justice. They decide disputes independently and impartially. It is their task to ensure that laws are complied with. It is their task to check whether the law which is made by the legislature is in accordance with the constitutional provisions or not. Whether the law is violating a fundamental right, whether the law is formulated, whether the law formulated by the legislature is in accordance with the injunctions of Islam or not. So it is the basic duty, prime duty of judiciary to check it. Now the very principle of the separation of power is to eradicate powers from one hand. No person should be given the sole authority. Here we are, the separation of power in our constitution. So first of all, starting with the executive, Article 41, Subarticle 1 deals with the executive president. It is very much clear that there shall be a president of Pakistan who shall be the head of the state and shall represent the unity of the republic. Article 41 deals with the office of presidency. So president shall be the head of the state. Riyasat ka sarbara hoga ji. Article 43, Subarticle 2, the president shall not be a candidate for the election as a member of parliament or a provincial assembly. If a member of parliament or provincial assembly is elected as a president, his seat, or as the case may be, the provincial assembly shall become vacant on the day he enters upon his office. So this is the separation of power. कि अगर सदर पाकिस्तान आर्टिकल 43 सब आर्टिकल 3 में क्लियर कट लिखा गया कि वो ना तो मजलिस शुरा का मेंबर होगा, ना सूबाई असेंबली का मेंबर होगा, और अगर कोई भी सूबाई असेंबली या पार्लियामेंट का मेंबर सदर पाकिस्तान बन जाता है तो इमीडिएटली उसकी सीट वैकेंट होगी जैसे वो सदर पाकिस्तान बनेगा, बिकॉज he would be acting as a part of the executive, not as the part of the legislature. So this is the separation of power. Article 41, Subarticle 1. In the exercise of his functions, the president shall act in accordance with the advice of the cabinet or the prime minister. This is a separation of power के जी executive का head होगा, state का head होगा, तो वो जो भी act करेगा, वो जो भी काम करेगा in accordance with the advice of the cabinet या the prime minister. Now Article 58(2)(b) was an amendment inserted through 8th and 13th amendment, and subsequently presently it has been deleted, omitted by the 18th amendment. This was the power given to the president, where the president can dismiss the prime minister and his cabinet. Presently, this power has been withdrawn from the president by virtue of 18th amendment. So we are discussing the executives. Article 91 sub-article 7 deals with the executive, the most important office of the country, the prime minister. Article 91 sub-article 7 says the prime minister shall hold office during the pleasure of the president, but the president shall not exercise his powers under this clause unless he is satisfied that the prime minister does not command the confidence of the majority of the members of National Assembly, in which case he shall summon the National Assembly and require the prime minister to obtain a vote of confidence from the assembly. Article 91 deals with the establishment of prime minister. जैसे article 41 से लेके 49 तक president है, तो 91 से लेके 98 तक prime minister की office है, जिसमें ये detail में लिखा गया है. So both the offices are belonging to the executives. Article 248 sub-article 1, the exclusive powers of the executives: the president, governor, the prime minister, and a federal minister, minister of the state, chief minister, and a provincial minister shall not be answerable to any court for the exercise of powers and performance of the functions of the respective office, or for any act done or purported to be done in the exercise of those powers and performance of those functions. They are not answerable. ये उन ऑफिसेस को तकद्दुस दिया गया है कि जो ऑफिसेस हैं, इनके अंदर बैठे लोग जो भी ये काम करते हैं, they cannot be held answerable. Let's move to the legislature. Article 50 deals with the establishment of Majlis Shura. जैसे हमने डिस्कस किया कि दो हाउसेस होंगे, अपर हाउस एंड लोअर हाउस, सेनेट और नेशनल असेंबली. Article 69 में कि courts not to inquire into proceedings of Majlis Shura. Now this is another check and balance. कि लेजिस्लेचर की जो भी प्रोसीडिंग्स होंगी उसमें कोर्ट कोई भी इंक्वायरी नहीं कर सकती. 69 में मना है कोर्ट्स को. दिस इज द सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर. एग्जीक्यूटिव्स के पावर देखिए हमने सेपरेट हैं. प्रेसिडेंट होगा, प्राइम मिनिस्टर होगा, कैबिनेट होगी, प्रेसिडेंट उसके एडवाइस पे एक्ट करेगा और प्रेसिडेंट डिसमिसल कर सकता था 58(2)(b) में. फर्दर 18 अमेंडमेंट में वो पावर खत्म हो गई. फिर 91 में प्राइम मिनिस्टर है. प्राइम मिनिस्टर को किस तरह इम्पीच किया जाएगा, किस तरीके से वोट ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस लेना है. अब आते हैं लेजिस्लेचर के. 50 में कह रहे हैं कि जी मजलिस शूरा होनी चाहिए, पार्लियामेंट होनी चाहिए, जो दो हिस्सों पे होगी. एक हाउस होगा नेशनल असेंबली, दूसरा हाउस होगा सेनेट. 69 में क्लियर कट मना कर रहा है कि कोर्ट्स नॉट टू इंक्वायर इनटू प्रोसीडिंग्स ऑफ मजलिस शूरा. 239 sub article 5, no amendment of the constitution shall be called in question in any court on any ground whatsoever. Parliament being the supreme legislative authority under article 239 sub article 5 says that whatever the amendment in the constitution is made, it cannot be challenged in any court. Article 75, president, in case of a bill other than a money bill, return the bill to the Majlis Shura Parliament with a message requesting that the bill or any specified provision thereof be considered and that any amendment specified in the message be considered. The President shall give his assent within 10 days, failing which such assent shall be deemed to have been given. President is the executive head. अभी हमने कहा ना, लेकिन लेजिस्लेशन को चेक एंड बैलेंस के थ्रू बाउंड किया गया है प्रेसिडेंट के साथ कि जो भी बिल पास होगा वो प्रेसिडेंट की दस्तखत से होगा. आप जो भी बिल आपने बनाया, करारदाद मुत्तफिका तौर पे बना के पास करके भेज दी, वो तब तक इन्फोर्स नहीं होगा जब तक प्रेसिडेंट उसके ऊपर साइन नहीं करता। लेकिन अगर 10 दिन में वो साइन नहीं करता तो वो बिल ऑटोमेटिकली समझा जाएगा कि सिग्नेचर हो गया। So these are the concepts of separation of powers in our constitution with the system of checks and balance. Now Article 175 says that there should be a judicial system. There shall be a Supreme Court of Pakistan and high courts for each province and high court for Islamabad और दूसरी कोर्ट्स जो भी कानून के तहत बनाई जाएंगी। Article 175 sub Article 3, judiciary shall be separated progressively from the executive. There is a case law in PL reported in PLD 1994 Supreme Court page number 105. The independence of judiciary means the court says the judgment is of the opinion that every judge is free to decide matters before him in accordance with his assessment of the facts and his understanding of the law, without improper influences, inducements or pressures, direct or indirect, from any quarter or for any reason. The courts are of the opinion that judges are free to decide, because in Article 175 sub Article 3 it is clearly mentioned that judiciary shall be separated progressively from the executive, and judiciary is independent of executive and legislature and has jurisdiction directly or by way of review over all issues of a judicial nature. Article 68, restriction on discussion in Majlis-e-Shura. No discussion shall take place in Majlis-e-Shura with respect to the conduct of any judge of the Supreme Court or of a High Court in the discharge of his duties. अब देखें जी, हम ये तीनों ऑर्गन ऑफ द स्टेट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के प्रोविजंस के साथ पढ़ रहे हैं, आपको ज्यादा क्लियर होगा. आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू टू गो थ्रू विद द प्रोविजंस ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन व्हिच वी हैव डिस्कस्ड टुडे. Article 8 to 28 deals with the fundamental rights. Article 29 to 39 deals with the principles of policy. From Article 41 to 49, it is about the first executive of the country, the president. Then we have Majlis-e-Shura, the legislature. Then we have again Prime Minister, executive. Then we have Judiciary, 175. So I request all of you to go through with these relevant provisions of Constitution to understand the basic concept of separation of power and system of checks and balances introduced in our legal system. So that was all from my side. If you have got any question, you may ask in the group. And that was the precise concept of separation of power. Now I also request to go through with the text of your book. That is page number that is on chapter number 2, page number 23. We are referring a book, Legal System of Pakistan, written by Zamin Hussain Talpur. So go through with this chapter, separation of power. Go through with this lecture and raise your question if you have got any. Thank you.